It's the wild card weekend, and you know what that means? We got the playoff Print Factory edition with the crew, ODB and Big T, myself, JSU, of course, running the ship. We already got questions in the chat. I got questions for the chat because my co-host wouldn't answer me this. So I got to know before we get into the playoff stuff, I broke a glass. Is that bad karma or good karma going in? Because I shattered a glass all over my kitchen floor and I had to clean it up. And I was thinking the whole time, am I going to get all my picks right this week, or is this just going to be a terrible week? So chat, you need to tell me if that's good or bad for my picks, and that'll help you guys know if you should be fading me. ODB already told me you should just naturally fade everything I say anyways before we went on. So ODB, I assume that means bad for myself, but how are you doing? We got 6 games to break down, and are you ready for some playoff football?
Yeah, I'm good. This might be my last show because, I'm throwing my hat in the ring to be the Raiders GM. So, if they hire me, I don't think I'm allowed to do gambling shows anymore. So, Raiders, look me up. I promise you my coach will not kick field goals down a touchdown with 2 minutes to go. And we'll never punt down 17 in the fourth quarter. So that's my pledge to you, Raiders organization, Tom Brady. DMs are open and I'm available. So, so if that happens and I get hired by the Raiders, then sorry, guys, this might be it.
But will you still come on this show and talk Raiders with us, and we can ask you some
sorry,
questions?
I can't associate with gamblers. Sorry,
shit.
if I'm hired by the NFL by a team, I can't associate with gamblers. So you guys, I'll be blocking your phone numbers and unfollowing you on Twitter.
Damn it, Tony! Find a loophole so we can get ODB on, so we can get some inside information. Just kidding. No, he would never do that. But
no, I will say my first order of business as GM would be we would have an organizational decision to tank this year because the quarterback class sucks. And next year, there'll be a lot more options. And we're going to just keep trading picks. We're going to get a lot of picks for next year. Going to get rid of some of these bad contracts. And we're starting over. And I might try to get Abdul Carter. That that guy's fucking sick. That might be that's the best number one. That's the best pick in the draft.
All right, there we go. Tony, I was told a couple of things when I bring you in. I was told a couple of things. First off, we have some boycotters of the show that I see in the chat right now that told me they were boycotting the show because of the graphic. I said, it's Big T. I cannot run away from the Bengals talk no matter what happens with Big T. They can miss the playoffs. They're on bye for the rest of the playoffs, and they're on the graphic. Big T thought it would be so funny. Ha, ha, ha. I can't run from them. I can't run from Bengals talk. So that's one thing that we got to get off real quick because your Bengals, people are saying it in the chat too. How are you going to have a non-playoff team on the graphic? It's Big T. It's his homer team. He can't help himself. He can't talk about the Bengals like winning a game this weekend. So he just has to have something to look at. That's Bengals. Am I right, Tony?
Yeah, I mean, the best team in the world isn't in the playoffs, so everybody's lucky to not have to deal with the Bengals. So it was ironic that they fell one game short too. That was how it should be. One game short after all those games they blew, but. People like the graphic. Even ODB texted me. He liked the graphic. People like the touch of it. I don't want to hear it, chat.
All right. Well, chat, I tried. And then
I need a new team, though. I got to adopt a team on this show.
Well, you'll find one. You'll find one that you can back for the playoffs here. The second thing I was told was to not allow you to victory lap the Notre Dame Irish winning last night, which I think you were on Notre Dame because someone told me.
How am I not allowed to victory lap when I won?
Well, that's what I don't understand. You won the game, so that's what I said back to him. I said, how can I not let him? And of course, it's our guy K. Reed.
I won the game. I went to the ticket window. I got money back, and I won. How is that not victory lappable?
And I don't think it was crazy either. I felt like, they lost the turnover.
Everybody in the chat was on Penn State.
Yeah, but I'm saying like
horrible PI call in the end zone. How in the world is that not? How am I not allowed to victory lap that?
That's what I was going to say. They lost the turnover differential, and it felt like a lot of the calls were going against them, not for them. So, yeah, I mean, I thought it was a close game that could have went either way. And,
and on the last time this show, I gave Ohio State as the lock of the year the last time we did the Print Factory, and they won by 100. So I'll victory lap all I want.
Are you saying that Ohio State's winning tonight, and that's your second lock of the year?
Ohio State's going to roll them up, and then they're going to roll Notre Dame up.
All right.
Ohio State is so much better than these other teams. Easy.
I can't.
The easiest was last game, though. Like, last game was definitely the lock, but these next ones are good, too.
Yeah, I'm not going to talk about college football because I'm not going to pretend like I know a ton about college football. But you did give Ohio State last time we were on this show. You said it was one of the easiest calls pretty much. And you told everyone to bet them. And you told everyone to bet them like a week before the game or like 6 days before the game or whatever. And then, obviously you gave Notre Dame yesterday, which I thought more people were on Notre Dame. And then I looked around, I saw on Twitter, and there were a lot of people on Penn State. And I was like, I thought Notre Dame.
Penn State. The line flipped from Notre Dame -2.5 to +1. And
yeah,
I mean, I was on Penn State, but I think that was the right side. They were so clearly dominant on the lines of scrimmage. And for some reason, they decided not to just take the 7 yards every time. They could either hand the ball off or run a screen pass. That was horrendous. When you're that physically dominant, you've got to win the football game. When you're up 10-0 and the backup quarterback's in with 2 minutes left in the first half, and you've got dominant lines, like that was an insanely poorly coached, managed game by the Nittany Lions. Also, just shows the power of having a great coach. I mean.
Or just Freeman not having a terrible coach.
Freeman had an inferior team in basically every area and found a way to win the football game. That just happens sometimes when you got the better coach.
Yeah, you can't throw that pick at the end. That's the one thing for sure. You can't. I mean, there's 40 seconds left. You can't throw.
He got hit. He was trying to get the ball out.
Even his definition of it, though, was bad when he said he was trying to dirt it, which means he's trying to throw it away.
Right.
Terrible reasoning for it.
Because he didn't block to keep
the play call is terrible.
Out. Yeah.
Just get the ball to the running back or the wide or the superstar tight end in space. Like the blockers the line were giving massive holes. Like there's no reason.
I don't even care about that. It's more like he should have just known that if he took a sack, it's not the end of the world. Like you have a time. I think they still had a timeout or two at that point in the game. So they had 2 timeouts. They could use a timeout. The worst case scenario is the turnover is what happened. Like that's the worst case. It's not taking the sack in the clock running.
It's read 1, read 2, throw the ball out of bounds. It's very simple.
Or just take the sack. Like the worst case scenario, you go to OT or whatever it is.
I don't think you can take the sack. Just throw the ball out of bounds. Like he shouldn't have tried to go to the third.
He was in the pocket though, wasn't he? He was in the pocket.
Yeah, but on first read, second read, before the pressure gets there, you can throw the ball.
That's true.
But regardless, whatever.
Either way, the worst thing happened. He threw a pick. So we could talk about it all we want, but they lost. And I'll say this: it was a fun game to watch. There's a lot of back and forth. Teams up, teams down. At multiple points, I was like, "Oh wow, this team has it." It might not be good for the other team, and then the other team comes back, and it was a fun
I will
game.
say my favorite part of Twitter is you post tons of things throughout the week, throughout the year, during games, before games, middle of games, and you say some things and you get some things wrong. Like sometimes things change. And the people who just wait till the very end and then they just reply, it's like, oh, you're a genius. Oh, this. And it's like, yeah, sometimes you lose 80-20s. Sometimes you lose 90-10s. And sometimes you just, show me your live bet receipt. When I said Notre Dame has no chance and you come afterwards and you're like, haha, it's like, well, show me that you cashed the 5-1 ticket.
I love people when they come in after the fact and say it.
It's like, okay, yeah, sometimes you miss. Like, if you
when
don't
they
ever
got
post,
down a touchdown in the fourth, I think they were plus 450 or something like that.
it's not even that. When they were down 10-0, you could have gotten them if you thought Notre Dame was live. Like
were they 5-1 then?
4-1, 5-1. Yeah, they were. It's like okay, but it's just hilarious. It's like you just wait till that, and then I have a lot of really good takes, and I'm right like a lot of times. They don't ever come in and say anything.
But no one wants to give credit, ODB. So they want to.
How about I went before the last Sunday when all the Survivor stuff came out from Circa, and I said that the people who picked Atlanta just stone torched their pick.
I hate this though, because I hate when people are like, "Oh, I give out advice, and when I win, I don't hear it, and when I lose, all I do is hear it." And it's just like, don't even worry about it. Like, who cares?
No, I don't. I just think it's hilarious. It's just funny.
Yeah,
but
it is funny. But I see people like talk about that on Twitter, and I'm like, don't even care. Like, if you're giving betting advice on Twitter, like, you have to understand you're getting more hate no matter what.
Well, you're also gonna be wrong sometimes. Like, nobody. Yeah. If you only give out 100%, then that means that you're never taking a chance. Like, you're always betting the massive.
It reminds me of when Tony gave that one time when Tony kept giving the "now is the time" one, and then it just became a joke. Like, he did it so much in one game that like he just kept doing it, and it was great because it worked. What was it? The Chargers playoff? Was it the Chargers playoff game? Jacksonville, yeah, where they were down like some extraordinary
it was like 27-0 or something.
Yeah, and then they come back to win, and you had all those tickets, and you kept saying like, "now is the time," and it's just those are fun. But what are you gonna do? All right, we got 6 games to talk about here. So this is how it's gonna go. We're gonna break down all 6 games for you guys, and then after we break down all 6 games, we give you the winners there. We're gonna go through the entire playoffs and give you pretty much our bracket playoffs all the way up to the Super Bowl and our Super Bowl winner. So that'll be at the end of the show. We do that. What's up, boys? I've never in my life watched you live, but here since day one, even RG. Thanks for all the great appreciate you, Matt. Love that. Since the RG days. Those are long ago.
Too. Like, this is what JSU never he always waits like 3 weeks too late to get his haircut. Like, tell him, Trevor. He waits too freaking long to get the cut. He lets it go way too long.
What's wrong
I like the fact that there are comments. There are 3 comments. You took the one, and then you skipped the good comment, and then you went to the other comment.
What was the good one?
There's 3 comments.
This one. There.
Never.
You just skipped right over Andrew the GOAT.
That is funny. Seriously, Tony, what's wrong with my hair right now? Okay, the MMA is back this week. I got my hair ready. I got it. I think Islam fights soon. Well, either way, I got my hair ready. We got a Nurmagomedov fighting it, in a week or 2. Like, don't worry about what I'm doing. Okay, I'm ready for what's coming up. It's not just football. We got MMA. You got college football playoffs.
Like a hat, he said. Let it ride. It's like a hat.
Man, you guys are haters. I'm fucking keeping this. I'm growing this thing out right here. I'm going to shave everything else but this, and I'm just going to let it grow. Just for Tony. All right. Anything else here? John is just John right now. I want Peyton Pritchard. What? Well, that's NBA time right now. Tony, is it NBA time right now? Should I watch NBA on Saturday and Sunday?
No.
Okay, well then Peyton Pritchard's got to wait.
This weekend is definitely not NBA time. Like, this is not NBA. This is
but you're telling me I need to get the Peyton Pritchard. That's what you're telling me I got to do.
It's not Peyton Pritchard yet.
All right.
You have to say props to football, man. They found a way to give us a playoff game Thursday night, Friday night, 2 Saturday, 3 Sunday, 1 Monday. Like,
it's as good
5 days in a row of playoff football. Like, how
do you guys like the Monday game? Do you guys like the Monday game?
Of course.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you like Monday Night Football?
Well, no issue with the game being like on Monday, and then it's like issue? A game after all the other days, I would assume, right? Are they going to have
there's always going to be a last game, JSU.
I know that, but I'm just saying, like, it's on Monday. All these other teams play on Saturday and Sunday. Like, I don't know. I guess so. What? Yeah, I guess it's better for us.
Regardless, the winner of the winner of the Minnesota Rams game is going to play the late game on Sunday. So doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I guess it doesn't matter that much. All right, let's get into the games here. We'll start with the Saturday games. We'll work our way all the way through into Monday here. Starting off with the Chargers and Houston, ODB's team from before the season. We got to see if ODB is going to be on this team. They are a dog right now. I think it's sitting about 2.5 on DraftKings Sportsbook. This game is in Houston. The Chargers are minus 162 on DraftKings. Over under sitting at 42.5. ODB, I got to start with you. This was your team before the season. They get the Chargers, which I think is, it's a decent draw, right? It's better than having to play the Ravens or, the Bills or any of those teams. But what do you think of the Chargers Texans matchup here? Are you on your team?
It's actually a terrible draw. They could have gotten the Steelers. But yeah, I don't know. This, I wanna stick to preconceived notions, ideas, but I really just have this rule of just trying to evaluate things as I see them currently. And as much as I really want to like the Texans, I want to like them at home. I want to just think about the fact that, that I feel like everybody is going to be on the Chargers, and this line just stays steady at 2.5, 2.75, really, when you take into account juice. It's like the books don't really mind the Houston action, it looks like. So that kind of scares me, but I haven't really been scared off from that all year. As much as I want to like the Texans, ultimately this game just comes down to the offensive line, and I just don't trust Houston's offensive line to keep out the Chargers defense. Yeah, I really want to like Houston. I liked them at the beginning of the week, but the more I think about this game, the more I just see mixing up the gut for one, mixing up the gut for two, CJ getting pressure. I think the Texans their defense can do work too. So I could see this being kind of a lower scoring game. But the total's pretty low too. So I don't know. I'm kind of leaning. This is the one game that I really just don't have a take on anymore. I went from strong Texans to I kind of think Chargers. And if a team that I like and have been on, I want to start fading, kind of feels like that should be a sign to me to do it. But yeah, I'm leaning Chargers, but I really don't have a strong take. I'm curious what you guys think about this game, because you guys have been kind of down on both these teams for most of the year.
Yeah, Tony, I feel like you've had a pretty good lean on the Chargers team specifically. So what do you think of this matchup here? And Spencer thinks you should be rocking the cornrows next year. I mean, I don't know about that, but I mean, maybe the AI, you could pull off the AI, I guess.
There's like a bunch of kids, just from like watching the basketball stuff around here. The younger kids like love cornrows now, like white dudes. It's a weird trend for me. Yeah. And I make fun of it every single time. So I don't think you're going to see, unless I lose a bet, which you never know with me. Maybe I lose a bet and need to do it.
You grew up playing basketball. I grew up playing basketball. I can't remember a white dude with cornrows. Like,
no, it's a newer
I
trend.
played a lot of basketball games.
There's a decent number of kids that do it too. Like,
that's wild.
Decent number. So it looks terrible too. It's a terrible look. So,
and my guy Rick, Rick, baby, I can. So that's easy money right there.
I don't know. I might have me and ODB in that. We get good tail. I like it. I like our.
I don't think so.
Underdog in that.
Rick Majerus knows. That's all I'm gonna say. Rick Majerus
used to always be on my side. Now he loves you because the water won him over.
Warm water. It's the warm water. Yep.
I actually like Houston in this spot a decent amount. I think the public's pretty heavy on the Chargers, which again, I'm with ODB. I don't worry about that as much as I used to. Houston's looked bad, but I also just don't think the Chargers are going to be able to score. I think it's going to be low scoring. I just think Houston's going to find a way to win at home, and low number looks like you can get 3 most places right now, just looking across the board. DraftKings is 2.5 if you like the Charger side with juice. 3. I mean, like some of these other books, you can get 3 with not much juice with the Houston side. So I think Houston wins, but I do think it's a pretty ugly game as far as fantasy. And the Saturday slate's going to be interesting. So we got a bunch of slates on DraftKings, which we don't usually talk about DFS as much, but this is the playoff slate, so we're going to talk about everything. The 2-game slate is pretty tough, in my opinion, on Saturday, where you have Baltimore against a good defense, and then you got this game where I just don't see a ton there. And there's a 6-game slate too, which is nice on DraftKings. And they got the promotion on the sports book, which we can talk on here too, where $2 million if you hit the longest touchdown of the 2-gamer on Saturday, which the minimum bet's only $5 too. So you can take a chance on some weird stuff, I think. And you just never know. Maybe some dude houses a long one and you win a lot of money off $5. It's a pretty cool playoff promotion actually from DraftKings.
So it's called the King of the So it's called the King of the End Zone promotion on DraftKings. Like Tony said, 2 million. I think they're doing it too for Saturday and Sunday, Tony. So this promotion will be for Saturday and Sunday. And like you said, you can pick a touchdown score. Minimum bet's $5. If they score the longest touchdown on the slate, you're going to get a share of $2 million. And actually, I was reading the details, like the fine print, and you can actually, from what it seems like, you can parlay 2. I think it was 2, maybe it was 3, but I think 2, and you can get a piece of both of those guys from the longest. Yeah, because I was reading the fine print, and if you
bet doesn't even have to win.
I'm just reading it here, and this is what it says. So I'll read it to you too. It says qualifying bet can contain up to 2 legs for traditional parlays of 3 legs for same game parlays, and players will qualify as entries into the King of the End Zone promotion. SGPX bets do not qualify. So they're saying that you can do 2 legs from one game. 2 legs from like different games. One from one game and one from another, or you can do like 3 legs from the same game if you want to pick like 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, you should definitely do that then if it works like that.
Especially if you're only putting $5 on it. Like you put $5,
you
but
should only put $5 on it. Do a different bet. If you like a different bet, put more. Like you should always put the minimum on the bet like this. Just put $5.
100%. So that I read that it's that was number 5 in the.
We gotta find a gem though.
Details.
We gotta find so just the Print Factory viewers can chop up 2 million. We gotta find some guy that's gonna house a long one for us in these 2 games.
Right, well,
I don't know who's gonna house a long one, but I do like for the 6-game slate. I do kind of like Deontay Johnson. If you like the Texans, I can't imagine that Deontay Johnson, the
same Deontay Johnson.
Yeah, he's a good wide receiver, and like, aren't they going to get him more involved? He played last game. I can't imagine they're going to roll out John Mechie on every play, like their WR2, WR3 situation is so awful. Like, can't you see Deontay Johnson being a part of this offense? Like after basically the last couple weeks of being with the team, I mean, the guy's actually a legitimately good wide receiver. I mean, you work in practice, like I don't see how they can't try to find that guy like 7 targets. Like they need somebody. They need somebody to
7 targets.
I'm just saying for this game, like why can't they give him the ball? I guess you guys don't like that call. I kind of like him. I kind of think that
he caught me off guard with it. I wasn't expecting the Deontay Johnson out of the hat.
I mean, Deontay Johnson's actually a good wide receiver. He's by far their best number 2 wide receiver. He's a good football player.
I mean, he just got chewed out of like 3 different teams.
Yeah, but the guy still produced everywhere. I mean, the guy's still produced everywhere except for
Baltimore doesn't have receivers and they let him go.
Yeah, but he probably was kind of a prima donna. I mean, I don't know.
Something happened there because when they played each other and he was on the sidelines after that game, he was dapping up Lamar and Derrick Henry, and they were all chummy, happy to see him. Like something happened with like the coaching or the front office, like something must have happened because it seemed like the players were pretty cool with them. So I don't know.
I don't know. I just think like for 3,500, if you put him in and he goes off and he has like a good game, like you've got great value. You can put a little more chalk around him in the other two slates. And if he doesn't, then you can kind of get a little. Then you have to get a little weirder with your makeup, of your team. But it gives you that early game guy that's going to be unowned that you can help build the rest of your team around just on some big
Deontay
field
Johnson
stuff.
is plus plus like 550 to score a touchdown right now in DraftKings. So if you like Deontay Johnson, definitely would look at some props too. I think maybe on the 2-gamer slate ODB, he's probably more in play with just only 2 games.
The problem on the 2-gamer slate is the pricing is just it's not as tight because you just don't have any of the good teams.
That's why like you don't have to play him. So like he's a good differentiator in a way because you don't have to play him.
Yeah, I just think like on a 6-game slate, like the pricing is tight to get good quarterbacks, good running backs. The top end receivers are all good. There's nobody really good in these 2-game slates because you've got Bateman and Andrews that are free and going to be active, and QJ who's free. Like you just got all these guys. You have no good running backs on the Steelers or the Chargers. I don't know. Just you don't need the money as much. But anyway, yeah, he could be there too. But
I don't know. I'm gonna let you guys enjoy the old Deontay play. I'm gonna refrain from
I love how you just
projection. Like,
I love how you just like couple me up whenever
you weren't scoffing at him.
I'm taking this. I'm taking this one solo, boys.
Solo. It just caught me off guard. If you come in like the chat saying Zeke, if you come in with Zeke later too, my head's really going to be spinning.
I'm not coming in with Zeke. I came in with Darius Slayton, and the guy went off a couple months ago. Yeah, JSU, what do you like in this game? I know you hate the Texans, so what do you like?
I'm on the side of I don't really like either of these teams a ton, but I was confused because honestly, I thought this game would be just like a straight pick 'em coming into it. I didn't think, even though I hated Houston, I guess everyone just hates Houston now because I've hated Houston most of the year, and I thought they've gotten decent respect for a lot of the year, but maybe down the stretch that started to change. And this is great because they're at home and they're 2.5-point dogs to a team that I think might be slightly better, but like very slightly. I wasn't expecting the public scenes to all be on the Chargers, which scares me a little bit, like Tony said, but I do think they are at the end of the day slightly better. I think this is a close game. I think it's more lower scoring too. But I do think the Chargers kind of eke out a win. I think at the end, Justin Herbert, I like a little bit more than CJ. I think the coaching, they have a slight edge there too. Their offensive line they definitely have an edge there. And then the defensive line, that is Houston's strength. They do have a good pass rush, but the Chargers are pretty solid there too. So even if I give the slight edge to Houston, I would say it's slight. So I'm gonna lean the Chargers here. That's the team that I'm gonna pick, but don't really like either of these teams, and I'm kind of pissed off that one of these teams gets to go to Kansas City after that. So Kansas City gets to avoid the Bills and the Ravens, and they get one of these two teams that I don't view as.
What about when Big Bo Nix wins? They're not going nowhere when Big Bo gets the job done this weekend.
We haven't gotten there yet. Why are you?
Because they might not be going to Kansas City. They might be going elsewhere, baby.
Okay. All right. Well, you're just throwing in a little, we're not at that game yet, chat, but Tony's I see where Tony's going with this game here. I can't wait.
You said he was going to Kansas City when they might not be going to Kansas City. You started it.
I'm sorry, but I will continue it because that's what's going to happen, but we'll get there in a second. Stroud and Nico chat says Deontay will be in Phalic's core. I 100% believe Deontay Johnson will be in Phalic's core. That will not shock anybody. ODB has big balls, says Tom. All right. Mike Williams or Taylon Wallace. Well, we're about to get to that game right now, but I'll throw that out there real quick. Mike Williams or Taylor
What
Malls?
are you guys looking at a different slate than me? Where are these names coming from? This is the playoffs, not week 18. What?
I will say, I think that was a 2-gamer question, but
I don't care if it was a showdown question.
Now you're just being mean. That was our guy Lycan too. That was our guy Lycan. He's a subscriber. He's always in the chat. He's a good dude. And you just poo-pooed his question. You just shit on his question.
My question. Is it week 18?
This is what happens when the Bengals don't get to the Super Bowl chat.
I get grumpy.
He's just grumpy. He's just grumpy. They're not even in the playoffs, so he's even worse right now. I mean, if ODB's Houston Texans lose this week, he'll probably act the same way next week. That's why he doesn't want to touch this game, because he's like, this is my team, and in my heart, they're
not my team. We all know who my team is this year. Okay, let's
I know who your guy is this year. That's for sure. I know who your guy you're rolling with. So I can't wait to talk about that game. But one more game on Saturday, then we'll get to that game specifically here. We got the Steelers. We got the Ravens, 9.5-point spread on DraftKings Sportsbook, 43.5 total here. Ravens favored at home against their division rivals. Tony, start with you in this game. Lamar Jackson, Russell Wilson. Pittsburgh's offense has been struggling of late. Can they get it going against a familiar foe?
Yeah, this game's tough just because Flowers is obviously a decent part of their offense, where they just don't have a ton of receivers that they can go to. When Bateman's your number one, you got issues. And division game, Pittsburgh's has always played them tough. I know a few weeks ago it went Baltimore pretty heavy, but I think Pittsburgh can play with them a little bit. I don't think they'll win or anything, but I think they can keep it somewhat close, and you can catch 10 at a few books right now. Looking around, MGM's 10, a couple other offshore stuff's 10, but you can catch 10. And I like catching 10 with these two teams because I think it plays low scoring too. Like I said, I think Saturday, I like points a lot more when we get after Saturday. The 2 games Saturday feel ugly to me. The games are awesome on Sunday. Monday, I like Monday too, but I think Saturday has by far the 2 toughest games fantasy-wise. So I like Pittsburgh, actually. Plus, I'm going to take the 10 just because I'm using unabated, and I'm going to choose the best line. And in the playoffs, you need to price shop because a half point is massive. The difference between 9.5 and 10 could be a lot of different money over the course of the playoffs. So I'm price shopping. I'm taking the 10 at MGM right now, even though it's not DK. And I like the under too. I like the under in both these Saturday games. I think they both play somewhat tight. And fantasy wise, I'm really struggling with the 2-game slate more than the 6-game slate, just because I don't know. Kind of like ODB said with the 2-game slate. Like if you look at running backs and stuff, it's pretty cut and dry. But like when you start doing prices and stuff, it's tough. It's tough. So maybe that was the question with those receivers I made fun of. Maybe you just got to play one grease ball to make it all work. I haven't built anything yet. So I don't know. I don't love Saturday's games though.
To answer your question, you do have to probably play one grease ball to get everything you need if you want to go that way. So yeah, that's just the case. Lycan was also letting you know to relax. That was talking about a milli bet for the 2 million.
Oh, see, there you go. I like that, Lycan. The milli bet. See, those two are good. See, I accept defeat. I'll accept when I was wrong. Those are good milli type. The 2 milli thing, I think those are good bets. So I apologize, Lycan.
It's the king of the end zone promotion, but I'll allow you to call it whatever you want. And then he says, Big T sounds stoned as hell when you get caught up. I think he was referring to Mangone, who is listening on 1.75 speed right now. So Mangone, when you get to this point, fuck you. ODB, let's go to you here. Tony likes the Steelers, catching the points, trying to get that 10 if he can get it somewhere. Where are you at with this game?
I'm getting it. I'm getting the 10, baby. I'm using
all right.
unabated,
You caught the 10.
Finding the 10.
All right.
Well, normally this would be a spot I'd like the Steelers just because the Steelers and Tomlin have shown a propensity to play Lamar well, but I'm not really stepping in front of this Baltimore wagon right now. I think Baltimore might be the best team in the NFL, maybe the best team in the AFC. And I don't know. I don't really want to step in the way of them. I think that there are two just slam dunk pieces. I think Andrews and Bateman are just slam dunk free in the 6-gamer. I mean, they're 5,000 and 4,700 or something, and you're just getting, I don't know what, like 70% of the targets for a team that I think can score on this Pittsburgh team. I don't think anybody's really stopping them right now. And I just don't trust Pittsburgh's offense at all. The Ravens defense has played much better the last 6 weeks. And the Pittsburgh offense is just flat out broken. They can't run the ball. They can't throw the ball. Russ Wilson stinks. Yeah, I don't know. I just have to play the Ravens. It's kind of disgusting to lay this many points in a rivalry game and teams that know each other, but I just can't find a way off of Baltimore here. So, yeah, I like Baltimore. And yeah, I think Bateman and or Andrews. I think you have to play one of those two in the 6-gamer, because they're just going to be such a major portion of the target. I think Aguilar probably would be my pick on the longest TD. I mean, that guy houses balls, and he's going to be on the field a lot, I would think. I think he's got to be wide receiver too, hasn't he? So yeah, that's kind of my take on this game.
So a couple things here. AJ thinks a large Anthony on the edibles. It's not late enough, AJ. I'll just let you know that. So
well,
I don't
the kids have been home from school all week, so it's more in play than it usually is.
the 2 p.m. edibles is more in play with the kids at home, and you start early.
Yeah. What do you mean? Yeah.
That's really early. Like normally you're like 10, 11 at night.
Freaking snow all week. Like, how do you miss school all week for snow?
Dude, you've never lived in Massachusetts when it gets bad, because it can get bad. But yeah, that was one. This was another great comment from Mr. Drunk Guy, just imagining what fuck Mangone sounds like on 1.75 speed. Like that one there. Leave the Italians alone. I don't know what that was referring to, but maybe I missed that one. JSU needs to break out the screwball for the... No, Sam, absolutely not. The screwball, I threw that thing across the road into the senior center, and it's never coming back. So I will never be drinking screwball again. Breakfast of Champions, don't know what that is either. Big T knows I've been snowed in for 4 days and start drinking at 11 a.m. Devin
It's a different world when you're stuck in the house with everybody. It's different.
Oh,
is the pricing on the 6-gamer the same as the 2-gamer, or is it different?
It is. It should be the same.
Is it the same all weekend?
Should be the exact.
I don't know.
Same.
I've only looked at the 6-gamer. That's what I'm playing.
Likely 3,200 is pretty good price too. There, that feels.
Yep.
That feels
yeah, it looks the exact same to me. Likely 3,200.
I figured they would, just to make it easy for people to play the slates.
Yeah, no, it's the same. So, I am on the side of, I think this game. I think I kind of agree with ODB that I feel like the Ravens could be the best team in the AFC right now, the way they are constructed, and the defense, down the stretch has played much better than we want. I know we're like the secondary at some points of the year, they struggled big time, but the defense
who they play good against? Let's go to the schedule test, boys, since their D is so much better. Who'd we do it against? Hold
on. Let me pull it up. Since you're yelling at me right now, let me pull it up before you start yelling. Jeez.
Because it's so much
again, because the Bengals didn't win the division. Let's pick on the Ravens here, Tony. Okay, this is who they played down the stretch. You ready? So I'm talking the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games, we'll say. I'll leave the Bengals game out. They played the Steelers. the Chargers, the Eagles, the Giants.
The Eagles without Jalen Hurts.
The Giants, the Steelers,
they played the Eagles with Jalen Hurts. That was the Eagles
Browns.
Smashed them.
He got hurt in the middle of the game.
No, Eagles beat him
in
that game. No, he didn't.
He didn't?
No, he did not.
Eagles beat him. Eagles beat him.
Saquon ran on him. Jalen Hurts played though.
That was the last game the Ravens played.
It was an ugly game though.
And
it was an ugly game.
Like, okay,
they did.
I didn't say the NFC. I didn't say the NFC team though, and they won 24-19.
So which good team did they play good against?
The Chargers.
Well, they're not playing a good team.
The Chargers are in the playoffs.
That's fine to say they're
Texans. They owned 31-2.
Everyone's saying how much better their defense is based on nothing.
Well, I mean, they played the number 4 and 5 seed in the AFC, and they destroyed Houston 31-2.
I mean that game
in Houston.
The 2 adds insult to injury. Wouldn't you rather just lose like 31-0 than the 2? The 2 like adds insult to injury. It makes it look worse.
Makes it look worse.
As your defense outscored your offense.
The 2 makes it look worse than just getting shut out for sure.
I mean, you got to remember too, like they played a lot of their tougher spots. You know, the Chiefs, they played obviously game 1. They played the Bills game 4, which they won 35-10, by the way, against the Bills, who, second best team.
Regardless whether you're playing good teams or bad teams, there aren't that many good teams. I mean, if you're going to eliminate the Chargers and the Texans from good teams, there's only 5 good teams in the NFL, and one of them
in ODB. Let's just take all the teams that are in the AFC playoffs right now. The Chiefs they lost to. That game was close. The Bills they pounded. The Broncos they pounded 41-10. By the way. Chargers 30-24 they won. Houston they owned. Steelers 34-17 one game, and then they lost I think one game, and it was close 18-16 they lost. Those were both down the stretch. But I'm just saying, like, what do you want them to do? They played almost all the teams in the AFC playoffs, and the only team they lost to was a divisional matchup against the Steelers one time. They beat them the other time, and then they lost to the Chiefs
on the road.
What do you want them to do?
Yeah. I mean, at home, this defense is going to be a different animal. I mean, I don't know. I just watched the Cincinnati defense completely shut down the Steelers. Cincinnati defense, is being compared to, they're generationally bad.
I keep saying the same. They look better against the shitty teams too. Like they were a better defense the last.
I got a better question for you. How many good teams are in the NFL? How many good teams?
I mean, in the NFC, there's a lot. In the AFC,
well, no. They don't play any of those teams until the Super Bowl. How many good teams are in the NFL, or even just the AFC? How many good teams are in the AFC?
I mean,
there's 4 good. There's 4 good teams in the NFC.
At least
I think there's 3 good teams in the AFC, maybe 4, maybe.
Come on, the Broncos are a good team.
God damn it! I gotta listen to this shit. It was either the Broncos get in or the Bengals. So either way, I was gonna get tormented with one of these 2 teams. Chat, but
could have been the Dolphins and Snoop Hudley.
Oh, that would have been terrible. No way. But yeah. So okay, we got 2 on the Steelers.
Miami would have been worst case getting in for the record. I'm so glad they didn't get in.
I mean, Tyreek Hill quit on them. Like, yeah, that would have been terrible.
They were embarrassing.
Awful. Yeah, thank God they didn't get in. And I will say too, I did a bunch of best ball shows with my guy Gregory, and what you're talking about, Tony, with these Saturday games, I was kind of talking about with the fact that I thought the NFC, there was just better teams with like better game environments throughout the playoffs. And I think these AFC teams, a lot of these games play tighter and play lower scoring than some of these NFC team games will. So I was on the try and get one team from the AFC and then stack multiple teams from the NFC, because I think you're going to see some shootouts in some of these NFC teams. And I think some of these AFC games, you're going to see some field goal kicking type of games.
Well, I mean, chalk should win the day in the AFC, and NFC, anything can happen.
Exactly. That was the other point I made. If a 6 seed or a 7 seed won in the NFC, I wouldn't be stunned. So there was more outs, I thought, in the NFC to take chances.
That's the way you got to build your best ball. You just choose an NFC, or just choose one NFC team to just stack, no matter which one it is, and just make sure you get pieces of,
well, that's why I like stacking, trying to stack 2 NFC teams with one good AFC team, if you could.
Yeah, the problem is the AFC
two potential.
The AFC pieces are not that concentrated. The Chiefs and the Bills don't have concentration, and you can't get
they're not.
Henry, so.
But I felt like for best ball it made it easier because they had guys late in drafts that I could just take just to get my stacks. But all right, those are the Saturday games here. A little difference throughout the panel here, but let's get to the next game here. This is Sunday, first game on the slate. It is Bo Nix versus Josh Allen. I should say the great Bo Nix because the show is a Bo Nix pro show with ODB on it, just slobbing him every fucking week, and Tony following suit. Yes, Bo Nix, he's great. Now he gets Josh Allen. I want to hear how this Denver team beats Buffalo in Buffalo. ODB, you have the floor, my friend.
Well, it's a tough order. I mean, that's for sure. Defensively, it's going to be tough to slow down Allen. Offensively, I don't think it's going to be any issue. Denver should score at will. I mean, with Bo Nix, I can't imagine that they don't post 27 on Denver. On Buffalo. It's just a matter of Denver's defense can stop Buffalo. They don't really play the defense that gives Buffalo that much trouble. I mean, Denver's defense really lines up well versus non-mobile quarterback that they can blitz and get pressure on, and then it has one lockdown wide receiver that Surtain can have under control. So it's not really the best matchup for Denver's defense, but I do think that Denver's offense should cook. Bo Nix is obviously very, very impressive, probably top 3 or 4 quarterbacks in the NFL at this point. And his wide receiver core, I mean, he's got number 1 in Sutton, a deep throw and deep threat in Mims, and Vele's pretty solid. So yeah, I think Denver's going to score a lot, but I'm not sure if they can stop Buffalo. I definitely am taking the points here, though. I mean, 10 points on a team that's going to score in the mid-20s. I'll take it. I think this game's a sneaky over. Nobody's going to play it for DFS, but and it's really tough to play because Denver does have so many weapons. It's hard to choose which weapon's going to go off. But yeah, I like the over here. I like Denver with the points, and I think they have a puncher's chance at winning the game outright. I also think there's a great bet on MGM. If you think Denver can win this game, instead of playing +4, like 4-1 or whatever, you can get 30-1 on them being the highest scoring team in the week. Because if they beat Buffalo, they have a real good chance to score 30. Because Buffalo, I mean, the way you beat Buffalo, look at the way the Rams did it. Look at the way that the Lions did it. Well, they didn't beat the Lions, but the way Baltimore did it, you do it by outscoring them. They can't stop the pass, and they're really good versus the run. The Broncos can't run the football, and they're really good against the pass. And Tom, you can be my bookie if you want.
So
give me good juice and a little rebate.
I just want to be clear. You are taking the points with the Broncos.
I know you were going to say that.
The money line with the Bills.
Yeah. No, I'm definitely not taking the money line with the Bills. But I mean, I'm not.
But you think they win?
I mean, if that's the case, then you can just never take a dog. I mean, Big T doesn't think Pitt's actually going to win the football game versus the Ravens either. But
I thought the Packers were going to win last year. Why can't you pick the Broncos?
Yeah. Well, yeah, but you also was like a 3-point spread. You can't do it with a 3-point spread. You can do it with a 10-point spread.
Oh my God, they were like 300 or whatever. Leave me alone.
If it's less than a touchdown, you got to ball up. But if it's over a touchdown, you're allowed to.
You guys,
no.
I'm not playing
it like a 2.5 spread. You were like, I got to take the points, but I'm going to take the money line the other way. It was like a 2.5 point spread.
No, it wasn't. And now you're lying to people. Now you're lying to people.
It was definitely under 6. It was definitely under 6.
You're lying to people on this show. You guys.
Anyway, my official prediction. The Denver Broncos cover this football game. It's going to be 30-27, one way or the other.
So by the way, the spread was 7 in that game. It wasn't fucking 2.5. So you lied again on this show. It was 7. Packers and Cowboys. It was 7.
It wasn't Packers and Cowboys. It was 2 years ago. It was Packers and Niners.
No, but I said
yes, it was
that
Packers,
I took
Niners.
the Packers, and Tony said, "Oh, well, yeah, you could take it when it's a 3-point spread or whatever." But like when it's above,
it was the Niners. It was a couple years ago.
No, I know what you're talking about, but before that, Tony was like, if it's over this number, but if it's like 2.5, like you did, and I'm like, no, it wasn't 2.5, it was fucking 7, and everyone.
Yeah, but when this bit started, this was back. This was like 3 or 4 years ago. When they played the
playoff game. It was the NFC Championship, I think.
Yes, exactly, and it was like a 3-point spread.
I think it was 5.5, if I remember correctly.
Whatever, it was under 6.
Yeah, whatever. Okay, so you think the Bills win though?
I think the Bills, and I think the Broncos score points. I think.
Okay. So you like the over? You should love the over then.
I like the over in this game, and I like over Broncos points and the long shot 30-1 most points. I think for Denver to win this game, they have to outscore them. Also, another reason why I kind of like the over is we saw it with Denver, Baltimore. If you actually watch that football game, when you look at it, the final score was 41-10 or something, and you're like, oh, Baltimore just blew them out. No, what happened was the Broncos went for it on 4th down multiple times in the first quarter because they knew they were going to have to score. They didn't convert, but they had a chance to convert on multiple times. So when a team like Sean Payton and the Broncos go for it on 4th down, either A, they're going to put their team in position to win, or they're going to give shorter fields. So I think that really plays into overs. What you don't want with overs is teams that are conservative and they're going to punt on 4th and 3 from the 45. Sean Payton's not going to do that. He knows they have to outscore the Bills. I bet if there's a prop like we'll convert or we'll go for it on 4th or convert 4th downs or whatever those props are, play all those overs. Sean Payton will go for it in this football game. He trusts Bo Nix on 4th down.
Yeah, I like what you're saying in terms of, though it does make sense why it could go over, I guess. I did not see this, by the way, CW, but Mike Evans deserves it. Mike Evans is a beast. Tony, we got Denver plus the points for ODB. Where are you at with this game? Who do you think wins the game, and what are you betting?
Yeah, I don't need the points. I'm taking the Broncos to win this game, baby, because they match up perfect with the Bills. They're going to keep Josh Allen in the pocket. They get more pressure than anyone in football. It's a perfect matchup for the Broncos, and I don't think the Bills are any good. I don't love their roster. I love Josh Allen, obviously, but if you keep him in the pocket and you make him throw to these bums he's throwing to, I think it's a perfect matchup for Denver. I think it's a gift to catch 9 or 8.5, whatever you get, 9 a bunch of places, plus 400 on the money line. Absolute gift to get 4-1 in this game, and I'm taking it. I don't need the points. I don't need to hear the ridicule of, well, this points, that, money line, that. I don't need the points. Give them to the next guy in line. The Broncos win this football game. I love Sutton. I love Bo Nix. I can't wait to watch this game.
That's what you do right there. That's how I see that. I'm fine with that. I mean, obviously you're going to lose, but the Bills are going to win this game. It's going to go probably under too, because if the Broncos lose, like they're going to lose this game like 30-10, like, so it's going to go under. I think that Sean Payton might be aggressive, but fully.
I'm going to tell you, Chiefs fans, you don't want any part of this Broncos team. You saw what they did to you last week. 38-0.
Where's AP at? AP, we're coming for you.
38-0. You don't want any part of this
Carson Wentz in the backup.
All I know is it said Chiefs on the jersey. It had Casey on the helmet. It was 38-0. They don't want any part of this.
Where's our GIF at? We need our GIF, our 3-man dancers.
I fucked up too. Coming. I should have said I don't need the points with the Bills. Damn it. Oh wait, never mind. But yeah, they're gonna win this game. That Tony is I think a little off here, but I respect that they love their team and they'll go in on their team. So they've been on the Bo Nix train. And I respect it.
I think the Bills suck.
All right. Well, we'll see. Well, wait, do you think they suck or do you think Denver's a good football team?
I think a little bit of both. I don't love Denver. I think the Bills suck, though. I think it's a perfect matchup for the Broncos.
It sounds to me like you think they're a good football team. Yeah, that's just what it sounds like when I listen.
I hate the AFC. I wish I could pick. I wish it was like a head-to-head where every AFC played an NFC, and I would just pick all the NFC teams, all 7 of them.
What if the Bengals were in?
I actually agree.
Bengals, baby, bring us back. Let's talk about them. I'd pick them.
They're not on this show. We're not talking about the Bengals. Can we
ODB
stop with this damn Bengal talk? Yeah, damn you, ODB. Your team's on. His team's off. Like, just talk about your team. I'll give you another 5 minutes. Talk about how great Bo Nix is, but I don't want to hear Bengals.
Man, he's good. How impressive has he been, though? Seriously. His passes, like, watch the last couple games. I mean, those passes he threw in Cincinnati, we weren't here week 18, but I mean, balls of steel in that Cincinnati game, regardless they lost, but I mean, he balled. And I know it was against practice squad guys, but man, yeah, it was impressive against KC. Just putting the ball where it needs to be every time.
It was against practice squad. Kansas City absolutely rolled over these guys. Oh man.
Unbelievable. This is the stuff I got to deal with all the time here. All right. We're on different sides here. You two on Denver. I am on Buffalo. Let's move to the next game. The Packers against the Philadelphia Eagles here. Eagles at home. What's the spread right now? Like 4? Where are we at here? Let's see. Oh, 5.5. Okay. So I feel like that line's moved. I thought it was 4.5 earlier in the week. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, 4.5. Yes. Okay, so it's 5.5 right now on DK Sportsbook. It's a 45.5 total. I saw something yesterday about AJ Brown's knee. He didn't practice. I assume, though, he's going to be good to go. Yep, he practiced on Friday, so that sounds like he'll be fine. Jalen Hurts, who's been concussed for the past 2 weeks, he will be good to go. He will be starting. And then Jordan Love, who had I think it was an elbow issue. I think it was his throwing arm elbow, too. He fully practiced. He looks like he will be fine as well. Christian Watson out with that. I think it was torn ACL. So that's kind of the injury news here in the offense. Tony, throwing this one to you here. Eagles, Green Bay. You've been really high on this Eagles team a lot of the year, especially the defense too, which was the part we were down on a lot of last year. I'm assuming you like this Eagles team here against the Packers.
Yeah, you assume wrong because I like the Packers. I don't need the points again. I don't care. It's the playoffs. We pick winners on the playoff show. The Eagles, A.J. Brown's doing his thing again where he won't even show up to the stadium or something. Last year, he just disappeared. No one even knew where he was. All of a sudden, he's got a mystery injury again now. He's such a puss. This team, Jalen Hurts hasn't played in 3 weeks. Screw this team. The Packers are built for this moment. 5.5, I get my little trap number that everyone's going to like Philly. I don't need the points again, baby. Give me the money line again with the Packers. Shove them in there. The Packers win this football game. Can't wait.
You know, honestly, guys, a lot of times when I host, I give myself an A. A lot of times, sometimes B+. That was sometimes a D right there. That was a D hosting job right there by JSU. I did not see, and this will show you too that we haven't talked about any of these. We don't know who everyone is picking. I totally thought Tony was going to be on Green Bay. I didn't even think twice about it when I threw it to you. I was like, Tony's definitely going to be on Philly. I don't even have to worry about it.
My favorite one of the whole weekend too.
And then he just totally ruined it for me. I mean, not ruined it for me. I'm happy that he's on Green Bay, but I was just, he threw me off a little bit. So ODB, bring me back centered here a little bit on this game. Green Bay and Philly. Who do you like? 5.5 points spread.
I'm not surprised. He hasn't liked Philly in years. I mean, he liked them for a couple weeks.
He loved Philly all the entire year. He was talking up how great the defense was, and before everyone noticed it too. I felt like Tony was on that.
Yeah, he did go a little this year, but for years he's been looking for chances to fade Philly.
Them. The only time I ever liked them a lot was when they whooped Brady's ass in that Super Bowl.
Big T turned heel on the show. I love it. JSU definitely. I will not confirm or deny.
This is my favorite game of the week. This is my favorite bet of the week. It is the Eagles all day.
You always love the Eagles too. The Eagles are
because
favorite.
Well, I like strong physical teams with good offensive lines and good defensive lines. Philly has both. Jordan Love is probably the worst quarterback other than Russ Wilson left in the playoffs. He's terrible under pressure. He makes mistakes. This Philly crowd, this Philly defensive line is going to get pressure on Love. I just don't see one position on the football field where the Green Bay Packers are better than the Philadelphia Eagles. There might be a linebacker or one lineman or something that they might be better, but I would say at least 19 out of the 22 positions.
19 out of the 22 positions.
I mean, I don't know. I'm just throwing it out because I'm sure there's a couple guys. Now, there's the X factor. Just like Penn State was much better than Notre Dame across the ball field, you got one guy who's a little bit moronic versus another guy who's actually a very good football coach and a good leader of men. So it does scare me, the coaching mismatch with LaFleur versus Sirianni. But other than that, I just don't trust Jordan Love. I don't understand the love for Jordan Love. He had a couple good games last year in the playoffs versus teams that can't get pressure. But under pressure, under duress, Jordan Love is not very good. The weapons are not very good on Green Bay. They do scheme well, but I mean, I just trust the physicality of the Eagles at home, outdoors, hostile crowd. Sunday afternoon. I love this Eagles. I love this Eagles game. Yeah, I love the Eagles here.
Okay, well, we got 1-1. And of course, I don't need the points either. I'm on Tony's side. I didn't think I was going to be on someone's side, but I will take it. I'm on Big T side with this one. Give me the Pack. Go Pack, go. I thought that would be obvious for the people here, but just if you're new to the show, which maybe we have a few new listeners this year, I'm on the Packers again. The Packers are a good football team that was in the best division in football. They've had a tough schedule too. Their schedule is brutal. So like their losses are mainly all to like the really top teams. This game that they played against the Eagles in week 1 was a super close game. That field was dog crap they played on too. Everyone was slipping and sliding everywhere. Friggin' trying to tear ACLs. Jordan Love at the end of that game, I thought he was done for like the year when he looked like he was super injured, looked like his knee was fucked up, but he was fine. Luckily, figured out a way back. But the throwing arm injury, it was an elbow injury, so it wasn't a hand. I think it was an elbow. I think he said he lost like feeling in his arm though. So yeah, he fell on it, lost feeling in it. It sounds like he's going to be fine though. So yeah, I mean, you shouldn't fall on your throwing arm shoulder. Like if a big guy falls on it, that's not good. So I'm sure he's going to try not to fall directly on that shoulder again. That's bad news. So I'm on the Packers though. I think these are two of like, by the way, like I think these two are like the best teams in football. Like Tony said with the NFC, like the NFC is just so much more loaded than the AFC. Like the 7 teams in the NFC are just so much better than the 7 teams in the playoffs in the AFC. It's not even funny. Like you got 2 to 3 good teams in the AFC. I think pretty much all 7 of these teams in the NFC are good football teams. Like I think that's literally the breakdown. I think there's 3 in the AFC, and I think there's 7 in the NFC, and they're all in the playoffs right now. So, I think it's loaded. I think it's unfortunate that these 2 teams play in round 1, but hey, you're probably gonna have to play them at some point anyway. So, I got the Packers rolling with them, and 2-1. ODB on the Eagles, Big T and myself on Green Bay. let's go to the next game. I think one of the funner matchups from a DFS angle and from a betting angle too. You got Tampa Bay right now at home, -3. It's a 50.5 total too, which I'm pretty sure is the biggest total in the playoff wild card weekend. You got Jaden Daniels' first playoff game, obviously against Baker Mayfield. ODB, I'll throw this one to you here. First off, what do you think in terms of the over-under? Do you like this game for points? Do you see a back and forth? And who do you think wins this game?
Yeah, first off, my dad is rolling over in his grave. You used the word funner. That was the one thing he would correct me on. Funner is not a word.
Do you know how many people would correct me on shit I said when I was a kid?
My dad would correct me on one thing.
You think that's the first time someone's tried to correct me on funner?
One thing and one thing only, my dad. My dad would always correct me on funner. Funner is not a word. And to this day, every single time I hear the word funner, it's like nails on a chalkboard.
You want to know you want to know the funniest part is I told JSU this like a month ago. My dad called me after one of our shows on the Print Factory and said, "You guys use the word funner and it's not a word." And he was making fun of me just like your dad. And I looked it up. Funner is a word in the dictionary. So both of our dads are incorrect. But my dad said the same thing your dad did, and he was making fun of me. So
I wasn't going to go into your dad's story, but it was a great story because you know how many times people have told me that too, like adults and stuff like that. And I just like, whatever. I just do like that. I don't give a shit thing. But then Tony calls me up, tells me this whole story.
And funnest are included in the dictionary these days.
Love it.
Right. I like your answer better though, because both our dads said that. We got to listen to our dads. It makes it a better story.
Yeah, exactly.
My dad never corrected me, so shout out to my dad. He was one.
All right, on this football game, I love the over in this football game. I don't care what the total is. The Bucks defense is an absolute sieve against the is an absolute sieve. This is the game I'm stacking for DFS. I love Jaden in this game. I don't really have a side because I think the Washington D is really bad as well. And I do like the pieces on Tampa. Bucky's cooking, Evans. I mean, I know he gets a lot more, but like whatever. McMillan is really turned it on. Otten's back. Baker's an absolute dog. I think this is the most fun game of the weekend. I wanted to lean Washington because I thought it was kind of a coin flip game. But I think I'm now on Tampa, but I'm not enough where I want to lay the number. If I have to, I'm probably going to with Tampa, but I'm not really sure. I might just play the over in this game. This is the one game where I really just can't decide because I just think it's an offensive shootout, and whoever gets the ball last, they're going to score or not score and win or lose the game. I think it's a one-score game down to the last possession, and I think it's high scoring. So, yeah, that's kind of my take on that. Small lean Tampa, I guess, but heavy lean over.
Tony, small lean Tampa for ODB, and he loves the over. Do you love the over in this game as well? And do you have a stronger lean on the side of this game?
Yeah, I love the over too. I don't see any way this game's not scoring. Tampa's probably got the worst defense in the. I'm looking at the teams. There's probably a worse team I'm not looking at, but they're a bad defense. Washington's a bad defense. Both offenses get up and go. I love the over, and I like Washington a decent amount too. Tampa, I was high on Tampa the last couple weeks, or the whole season, really. I like Tampa. They look so bad the last couple weeks in games they had to win. Like, they had to win versus bad teams, and they just stunk. And it just disappointed me for how they played. And honestly, I think this game's kind of a coin flip too. It's not one of my major convictions outside the over, but I'm just going with Jaden. I just think he's going to make enough plays to get the job done in this spot. I love how my boy OZ's looked. McLaurin's looked awesome all year. Ertz looks pretty good at an old age. I just like Washington better. And don't get me wrong, I like Tampa too. That's why I like the over the most. I think Tampa will score. But if it comes down to Jaden and I'm drawing a total. Baker, I'm just going Jaden, but I like the over. The over would be my strong play. I think this is the game for fantasy for me too. Obviously, that's not saying that much, but I just love how OZ looks. He's 4,400. He should have caught a touchdown again last week, a deep one. He dropped it. I think it was like maybe a trick play. I forget what. You guys probably remember, but some sort of play where he dropped an easy one. I love him.
You wanna know the play? You want to know the play? It was
sure.
Diami Brown throwing a 40-something yard dime in the end zone to Zacchaeus, and he dropped it. A dime.
It was a dime for sure. I remembered that part. And you just got a lot of plays in this game. Bucky's going to be one of the highest owned for good reason. I thought Bucky's so good. He's just a beast. Jalen McMillan looks awesome. Mike Evans is the guy, again, that we talked about it last week on the show. I just can't pay that much for him. I love him as a player, but I can't pay $8K for Mike Evans. I just can't. There's not enough salary to go around on these slates for me to get that high. He's always got upside, and he's going to be low owned because of it. Like you just can't pay that price unless you're like building a stack or something that you're doing.
And him and Lattimore are going to be fighting anyways. The whole game.
I mean, it's just. But the opposite side of that is you're going to get him low owned, and he always has upside. I mean, he just always has upside. So I can't really get there, but I wouldn't be too shocked if you get to that. But I love points in this game. I want to go to this game for a lot of stuff. And like I said, OZ, definitely one of my favorites.
Yeah. So I'm totally with you guys on the over. I love this game for points. Great for DFS. And it's funny because I've been someone pounding the Bucks bandwagon, right, Tony? For a while now, I've been talking up the Bucks and everything like that. But I think this is a really good spot for Jaden. I think it's like the perfect spot too. If you put him up against almost any other team, I'm trying to think right now of all the teams in the NFC that doesn't have the bye, obviously. If you put him up against any other team, I'd probably pick against them. This is the one spot, though, I think Jaden wins. So I think they win this thing outright. I'm going to go against the Bucks, who been kind to me. But like Tony said, down the stretch, they've really been killing me, like especially that game against Dallas. That was one of the games where I was just sitting there, and the whole game I was like, are you friggin' kidding me? Like, this is awful. And, I get it. Like Baker Mayfield, sometimes you're going to get good Baker. You're going to get some bad Baker spots. But I do think from a fantasy standpoint, both Baker and Jaden are going to have good games. It could come down to who has the ball last, like ODB said. I think both offenses are going to be able to move the football and obviously score. Jaden's looked really good towards the end of games too. Like it's just like really calm. I know it's his first playoff game, so I just don't know if that's going to change. It's going to be fine weather. Like it's just going to be two good football teams, and Tampa's defense, I think, is worse than Washington slightly. So I'm going to go with Washington here and the over. Definitely great play in this spot. So 2 on Washington. I think ODB was slight lean to Tampa, but he was more on.
Yeah, I might switch come Sunday. I'm not sure. But I mean, my official pick will be Tampa, but there's not a whole lot of conviction there. So I know it's going to change the bracket. It's going to change my bracket in the NFC, but
yeah, that's the thing too. When you do like the picks thing, it will change like who plays who. Yeah. So
it is what it is. So I just have to go with it.
All right, let's get to the final game. It is on Monday night, Minnesota and the Rams. And it's a 2.5 point spread. It's a 47.5 total. Minnesota is favored. And I think they moved it to Arizona, right? The game was moved to Arizona. So obviously not being played in LA because of the fires and everything like that going on. So they're going to Arizona, but either way, close spread, Vikings slightly favored in Arizona, 47.5 total. ODB, I'll throw this one to you first. Where are you at with the Vikings and Rams?
Yeah, I mean, this is my second favorite game after the Eagles. Um, I loved Minnesota when they were going to play in LA. I love them more that they're playing in Arizona. This is a great time to buy Minnesota. Look, I'm just gonna go on what I watched for 17 weeks and not one half of football. Um, the Vikings schemed up some good plays against the Lions. Darnold missed them. I mean, you can make excuses all you want, but sometimes you just have a bad day. Um, and he did. He had a bad day and he looked bad against them and he looked a little frightened and saw ghosts. And I think that's what's keeping this line down. I think this line should have been 3.5. I couldn't believe when it went all the way down to pick 'em a couple days, yesterday. I really wanted to go and fire that because I knew some places they keep it on the books if the game moves, but I just didn't have the capacity to go do it yesterday. So that being said, I also think that it's tough for coaches and players and everyone to be preparing. I'm sure there are plenty of players and coaches that have family members, friends, everything that are affected by the fires. So game planning, film study, all these things. Your family's under siege, some of them from these fires, and having to deal with that. Thoughts with all those people, obviously. But yeah, I trust this Vikings team. They have weapons all over the field. They have a defense that Stafford's not mobile. There's the blitzing that Flores creates. Also, this is kind of this is a revenge game from earlier in the year. I was on the Rams in that game. It was just a bad spot for Minnesota going there that week on Thursday night on a short week after playing Detroit on Sunday. Now they played Detroit and they go there, but now it's on Monday. I think those extra 4 days helped them prepare. I think this was kind of a wake-up call to Minnesota. And yeah, I like Minnesota quite a bit here. I think Minnesota just gets the job done and shows that they are more the team of that they had been rather than the team they showed in the second half.
It's a unique comment right there. JSU, heard you're purchasing a golf cart with your Onyx reward. That way you don't need a booster seat to drive somewhere. Appreciate you, Spencer Smith. I cannot confirm or deny, but I would love the shit out of a golf cart. First of all, my house isn't that big, so I wouldn't need a golf cart to get around that. But I wish I had a damn golf cart. Maybe I will get a golf cart. Who knows? That'd be fun as hell to drive around. Tony, if I told you could get a golf cart to drive around, wouldn't you love that? I would love that.
Those golf carts they're giving out are sweet too. Those Onyx ones. Those things are real nice. Of course, yeah. I love it.
All right, Tony, tell me why I should pick Minnesota here. Well, are you on Minnesota? I assume you're on Minnesota. I could be wrong. It's 2.5 point spread in Arizona.
Yeah, you're wrong again. You're doing a bad hosting job today. You gave yourself an A-, B+, whatever your freaking.
I gave myself a D. I gave myself a D.
God, so I agree a little bit with ODB where you don't base it on 1 week, but man, I think the blueprint was out. Man, they look bad in that game, and Detroit exposed Sam Darnold completely for what his weaknesses are. God, he looked bad, and I just can't get it out of my mind. And I just trust McVay. I trust Stafford. I trust Puka more than I trust this Minnesota team in the playoffs. I don't love the fact that it got moved. Not that LA is a good home field, but like you said, a lot of these people, who knows what happened with their homes and different things going on in LA. So there's a lot of side factors for the LA side that I'm a little uneasy about. Like if there was none of that, I would like LA even more. But I just can't trust Minnesota. They looked so bad to me in that game for all the marbles, for the 1 seed, for the bye. I mean, they couldn't do anything. Detroit just embarrassed them. So I'm on the Rams, and I like it a decent amount here too.
Yeah, I'm on the Rams too. A couple things. So with that Detroit loss, one thing Detroit had that a lot of teams this year haven't been able to do is that they were able to run the football on them. Minnesota hasn't been run on that much this year. Some of the other games, the Rams, where Kyron was decent and McVay just kind of pounded them, and that was the first game Puka came back. And if you remember that game, that was the game. I think Puka, he ripped them up, and he only played half the snaps. And he ripped them up for 7 catches, 100-something yards or something like that. And I'm pretty sure he only played half the game. So I think Stafford is the perfect person to play against the Minnesota Vikings and this Brian Flores defense. Obviously, he's not mobile, but he's just going to get the football out. He's going to get the football out to these guys in space. He's going to make plays down the field. He's been in big games. McVay, good coach. He's going to game plan out. And I think they're going to also pound Kyron. Even if it is, they're not going to get away from the run. And I think that's one thing that some of the teams that played Minnesota, they would get down in spots where then they were so one-dimensional, they couldn't even try to run the football. It's that's not going to happen, I don't think, against the Rams. And I think they're just going to stay with it. And I think they're going to grind out a win. Here, it's probably going to be somewhat of a close game, but I think they win this game 27-24 Rams. I think is going to be somewhere around the score here. And yeah, I like them here. I like them as the dog. So, I mean, I'm going to take them on the money line, but 2 for the Rams, 1 for the Vikings. Tony, I will say that finishing out this slate, we don't normally agree on the playoffs as much as I think we've agreed on this show. So that's a little interesting stat for, I'm going to have to go back to past playoff shows and see if we had agreed this much, because I feel like we agreed a lot here, where normally you and ODB are the ones agreeing.
I know. I don't. Me and ODB usually agree more. I don't like being on so many opposite sides. I don't know if that's good or bad for us.
You guys see that? You guys see how he just threw a dig at me without saying my name? He's like, "Yeah, I don't like being
couple years we've crossed the playoffs. It's been good."
Yeah, I don't like being against ODB, aka I don't like being on the side of JSU. Just throwing that one out.
And I will say, all year, the favorites. It's been the best year for favorites, in the history of the NFL. The books even got beat up. And I like all 6 dogs, so I don't know if that's good or bad with the way the season's gone. So, I mean, the favorites have had a astronomical year. If you look at the records, I think I saw a stat where every team in the playoffs is above 500 ATS, and some way above it. Don't quote me on that because I could be wrong, but I saw some Twitter post like that. So basically, all the good teams just cover, which it's interesting, in all 6 underdogs.
Yep. West Coast Gem says, are you guys going to do your Super Bowl bracket and pick the winner? We are going to do that right now. Before we get to that, obviously hit the like button on the video if you haven't already. I assume by now you're enjoying the video if you've stuck with us for the last hour and a half almost. And runpuresports.com, RPS15. If you want a promo code, you want to come join us in the Discord, talk sports. We got golf going right now. You got NBA daily, you got the NFL playoffs, you got the college football playoffs, which Bruce is still grinding out. You literally every sport. You can get the single sport packages too for these two. If you're just into golf or football or basketball, you can get the single sport packages, the betting package. If you're just into the bets, that's fine too. We got it all. RPS15 is that promo code, 15% off. And yes, now we are going to go through our brackets. So, guys, we picked the winners in these games, but we got to pick them all the way up to the Super Bowl. So you guys know how we'll do it. I'm going to make sure I note everything as well, so I don't miss anything here. So let me just pull that up real quick. Tony, ODB, and myself. Okay, let's do the AFC first, boys. So in the AFC, starting out, we've got Texans and Chargers. And ODB, which team were you on here? I forgot.
I'm going to take the Chargers. I don't know.
Okay. So yeah. Tony, Texans. Tony was Texans, and I am Chargers. Okay, so that's that one. Were we all Ravens winning? Yes, right?
Yes.
We're all Ravens winning. Okay, and then Bills and Broncos. Tony, you have the Broncos. ODB and me have the Bills. Okay, so in that scenario, Broncos will play the Chiefs. Tony, who do you have winning that game?
Chiefs.
I want to be on the Broncos. I don't want.
Okay.
I'm not letting Big.
So
I'm not letting
ODB,
Big. I'm not letting Big T be alone on the Broncos.
So who do you have? Chiefs or Broncos?
Now you got to really ball up to take them over the Chiefs too.
Oh no, I don't need to. The Chiefs are way easier matchup than the Bills.
There you go.
I mean,
So,
you can take those points and throw them away if they play the Chiefs. They beat the Chiefs for sure. Yeah, I'll take Broncos over the Chiefs.
Broncos, okay. And
now you're committed to these guys.
Then you guys would have Ravens and Chargers. ODB, you would have Ravens and Chargers. Who do you got winning that game? Ravens
roll show there.
And Tony, you would have Texans Texans Ravens.
You're always with the upsets when we pick the actual brackets. Like once you get further out, your upset gets more and more courageous because you all like pick them again. I mean, I got to take the Ravens here. I can't take
the Ravens. Okay, and JSU, you got the Bills and Chiefs. I'm gonna take my one upset here. Ravens. Okay, so I got Ravens and let's see, Ravens playing the Bills and the Chargers playing the Chiefs. I got the Chiefs beating the Chargers, and I'm gonna go with an upset here. I'm taking the Ravens to beat the Bills there. So then I got Ravens
locking up these freaking 2-point spreads again with big upset. Baltimore
might
might
be
favored upset in that game.
Ravens are going to be favored in that game.
The Bills are going to be at home. They won't be favored. I don't think they'll be favored.
I mean, look at to win the AFC. They're both equal right now. So that just tells you all you need to know about how the market respects these two teams.
Yes, but this game's still in Buffalo, and that weighs some. That they're going to be like a 1.5, 2.5
pick
point.
Buffalo, but this goes to the point from 2. You can't act like it's some upset.
No, it's just okay. I'm just talking from a seeding perspective, Tony.
Yeah.
From a seeding perspective, that's all I'm saying.
You got Buffalo in the Super Bowl.
No, I just said I have the Ravens in round 2 beating them, and I have the Chiefs beating the Chargers. So I have the Ravens and the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. You guys have, ODB has Broncos and Ravens, I think, and you have Chiefs Ravens. That's what I have here in the AFC. So let's do the NFC now. Tony, we both have the Packers in round 1. So we would have, since they beat the Eagles, I got
Detroit over the Packers for sure.
So you got Detroit. And then you would also have Washington against the Rams. Who do you got? I'm sorry, what?
That one's the hardest one for me. I guess Washington. I'll take Washington. I don't love that one.
Okay.
I don't feel good about. That's what I mean about the upsets. I always hate the second one more than the first one.
I know, but what are you gonna do? Like you know what I mean. The first round's where like I think you're gonna get most of your if you're getting upsets, but and then I am going to go. I do think that
treat for our loyal fans.
Rams.
Is it Bo
there
now?
He is. There's Cam / Bo. Cam / Bo.
What about when the Broncos win the Super Bowl? Can we get a name change?
No, we'll just get another dog.
ODB, so you have Eagles and Bucks, or who'd you have, Bucks or Washington?
Yeah, Eagles, Bucks.
Eagles, Bucks. Who you got winning that game?
Eagles.
And then you have Vikings and Lions, right? Vikings and Lions.
Yep. Yeah, I'm going Lions there. I'm going chalk NFC.
Lions. Okay. All right. So now let's do the AFC Championship or NFC Championship. Who we got here? Tony, Detroit, and Washington.
I mean, I got to go Detroit. I can't pick Washington to go to the Super Bowl.
Super Bowl. That'd be ballsy right there.
I can't do it.
ODB, Eagles, and Lions.
Lions. I've been Lions all year. I'm not going anywhere.
Lions, Super Bowl. JSU, Rams, and Lions. I'm going with the Rams.
There you go. Get in there, ball up.
Get the ball rolling. Is that an upset? Can I call that an upset?
You can definitely call that an upset, picking the Rams to get there.
All right.
Absolutely.
All right, ODB, Broncos and Ravens are your AFC Championship. Who you got?
Ravens.
No, don't bail out now. Stick with it. You gotta stay stone faced for the bit. You just gotta roll in with it.
It's not a bit though. It's just the real thing. I mean, I believe in the Broncos, but I believe in this Ravens team. This Ravens team is good. This Ravens team's really good.
Tony took a lot of stands in the AFC. He's got the Chiefs and the Ravens. So I mean, who you got, Tony? Chiefs or Ravens? The Ravens team that you said
Broncos over the friggin'. What do you mean stands? I picked the biggest upset of the whole thing.
You've picked nothing but upsets this whole time, and he's going to act like you're taking shots.
He's the Ravens. You got a 1 versus 3.
Like, I got freaking upset.
He also has a 6 and a 7.
Will you just give me who's winning between the Chiefs and the Ravens, please?
Man, this game's going to kill me to pick a winner.
Yeah, he hates both these guys.
He hates both teams. He hates both teams.
I got to pick Kansas City. I can't pick Baltimore.
All right, KC.
You hate Lamar so much.
I can't pick Baltimore. It does hurt me to pick KC, though.
It kills me, but I'm actually picking the Ravens here. Fucking down with the Chiefs this year. Ravens in the Super Bowl. Lamar finally gets to the Super Bowl here. All right, so we got our Super Bowl matchups. Tony, yours is KC against Detroit. ODB's is the Ravens versus Detroit, and mine is the Rams versus the Ravens. ODB, who do you got winning? Yours, Detroit, and the Ravens.
Man, what a football game. Yeah, I mean, I've been Detroit from the beginning. I'm just going to stick with Detroit, but that game, I don't know what I'll end up when actual time comes. But for this segment, we're gonna go with the Lions all the way. That's the team I've been with since day one this year, and we're sticking to them. Lions win the Super Bowl.
Tony,
Detroit gets burned down.
I will go next, Tony. Mine is the Ravens and the Rams, and I'm going with Mr. Lamar Jackson to get his first Super Bowl ring here. Ravens Super Bowl winner. For myself, Tony, your team, KC, and the Lions. Who you got?
Yeah, I gotta go Lions. Lions are winning the Super Bowl for sure. They impressed me so much the last couple of weeks. They have so many injuries, and Dan Campbell's the man. Dan Campbell. I mean, this dude's gonna. Who knows what he's gonna do after he wins this thing?
I do Dan
think
Campbell.
The most exciting, even though I'm picking Chiefs, I think the most exciting Super Bowl would be Ravens Lions for sure.
That would be a great game.
Like, I don't want to see the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, so I secretly will be rooting.
I also the Bills played the Lions. That would be a fun
Bills
shit
would be
game
good
too.
if they got. I just don't like the Bills, but if they got there, it would be too.
Well, I mean, Bills Lions or Bills Vikings or some two tortured fan bases together is always good.
Fun.
Yep. Rams are doing it for us. LA, baby, they're bringing it. They're gonna go on a run.
It's crazy the Super Bowl odds though. Like, I pulled the gambling stuff up, and the Lions, because it's got I like where it shows the best odds no matter where you can get them on like the gambling thing. The Lions are plus 295, and the next best is the Ravens plus 560 at I don't even know what book that is, but that Lions, I didn't realize they were that big of favorites.
Oh yeah, I just think it's because the AFC, there's the 3 teams. It's 3 teams versus kind of 2 in the.
So what
NFC.
do you think? I mean, just say any of these teams, because I think Baltimore, Buffalo, Kansas City will get similar odds value. What will the Super Bowl line be? Less than 3, no matter what.
Yeah.
Less than 3.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Yep. Any other bets you like? So looking at the gambling from like a long shot perspective, is there anyone that kind of sticks out? I was
trying to find a number on NFC, but I can't get it to pull up. Like, what's the NFC odds right now to win? Because I like NFC. I got you.
I'll just pull up DK Sportsbook right now here. All right, so DK Sportsbook, a conference winner. So in the AFC, you got the Chiefs at plus 150, the Ravens at plus 270, the Bills at plus 290.
No, I want like AFC versus NFC, not teams.
Oh, you want AFC versus NFC?
It's
like I want NFC odds to win the Super Bowl, where I get all
even. It's like it's like minus 110.
The NFC odds right now are the Lions plus 115, the Eagles plus 300, the Vikings plus 700, the Bucks plus 1200, Packers plus 1200, the Rams plus 1600, and Washington plus 1700.
Please, if you guys want to bet the Packers, if anybody in here likes the Packers, don't bet the Packers at 10-1 or 12-1 or whatever they are. Just money line parlay them.
Packers aren't winning the Super Bowl anyways.
I understand, but you got people who don't understand how odds are calculated. Odds are calculated by doing the money line parlays, and they're going to be they're over 2-1 this week. They're going to be over 2-1 next week.
The only time there's an exception, right, is when it's like a favorite, like Detroit or something. Like any odds have to be better than money line parlay.
You have to money line parlay is like much better with like a team like Green Bay because they can never get that upset where they have to play like where they get a home game.
Yeah.
So I will say one thing to look at is if you want to bet, if you want to put something on your opinions, there are some different ways that you can go about it. Like I was looking at some interesting ways to play these things, and like I'm personally not in on the Bills this year. I like the Ravens better, but let's say you think that it's going to be a Bills-Lions situation. You can get James Cook to have the most yards in the playoffs at like 10-1 or something. If he goes to the Super Bowl, he's going to have one more game than Gibbs, and he's going to have one more game than Henry. He's going to have two more games than Henry because he's going to beat Henry. He's going to have an extra game versus Saquon. So like there are a lot of ways that you can like just find like individual props and do kind of things like that. I'm not saying those are the things I want, but I think that there's some mispriced based on the actual odds for the teams to make the Super Bowl and things like that you can kind of take advantage of in the betting markets. So just kind of take a look at some weird things like that if you want to. If you think your team, you can find little things. Like I like the Broncos in the over this week. So if I like the Broncos in the over, taking a shot on 30-1 most points, is it going to happen? Probably not, but that's why it's 30-1.
Yeah, it's a great bet.
I'm just going to bet my exact Super Bowl winner here on DraftKings Sportsbook. Not the great bets, but just a fun bet for myself, just to sweat on. So plus 13,000 for the Rams and the Ravens. Exact Super Bowl right there. So those are my fun bets right there that I just.
It'll be alive through Monday. It'll be alive through Sunday.
Yeah, exactly. See, so I can sweat it. Even if it is through Sunday. Well, actually, no, Monday, because the Rams
won't be alive on Monday.
Yeah, won't be alive. You can do a new one Monday night.
Yeah.
Why? You're on the Rams too.
That's not the side I'm worried about.
Dude, you picked the Ravens. I'm so confused right now. Now you're just hating on my teams. Now you're just doing it on purpose. That's it. I think the Lions lose week 1. Oh, wait, they don't play today.
If I could pick against the Chiefs this week, I would.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If you had the Broncos Chiefs week 1, you'd be so happy right now. You'd be like, they're a lot.
I'm telling you, I want the Broncos to win more to play the Chiefs than just to win this game. Like I want to beat the Chiefs again. Should have beaten them. It should be the third win. They should have won that first game in Kansas City.
I want to beat the Chiefs again. I want to beat like he is Bo Nix. He is Bo Nix. I want to beat the Chiefs again. I love that. That's hard. That's backing your team right there, Tony.
Bo knows.
Bo knows. All right. I saw Cam's ears go up too when you said that. I saw Cam's ears just kind of whoop.
We stick together. Us Auburn guys stick together.
That's how I know that you talk about
Herb
Bo.
Street too. With Herb Street's dog, every freaking podcast and show, he's got his dog running all over the field.
Oh, why you got to talk about Herb Street's dog, man? Now I got to think about all the videos that I saw because Herb Street's dog, like, didn't it like pass?
And then he got a new one.
He's got a new dog.
Oh yeah,
now the new one's just everywhere. He just replaced it. The old dog was out, the new dog's in, and it's just everywhere.
I only brought Cam up here for the loyal people who watch the show at the end. I brought her up because they love the Cam dog.
I agree, CW. It's too soon. How can you just replace it like that?
Why has he got a new dog then out there if it's too soon?
No, that's what I'm saying. It's too soon. Like, it's too soon for him to have another dog. Yeah, it's too soon.
I
like,
mean, and it's in every camp, like all night long. You see McAfee, and the dog's just everywhere.
I mean, I love that for the dog because the dog probably enjoys the shit out of it.
The dog loves it. Absolutely.
Yeah, the dog loves it. Like, I would bring Reggie to the gym with me when I owned the gym, and he loved it. Like, he got to run around and see everybody, and he got to see people every day. Like, he loved that shit. But yeah, I can't believe he got a dog that quick. That's crazy. That's
maybe he had it before.
He had it. He has 3 dogs. He just took one. He just took one on the road.
He has 3 dogs. That would make more sense.
He's got a new one on the road with him.
Yeah.
Okay.
He needs some company. I mean, the dude travels like crazy. He's lonely.
That's true. Yeah, he gets lonely.
I have one more thing, because a bunch of people were asking me in the DMs and stuff. They wanted me to run. So I've run pools in the past where we just do a random draw for $100, where you just literally randomly get a team. We'll just do 14 numbers. Everyone puts in $100, and you just randomly get a team. We'll draw it on a stream or something where we just draw them. I've had a ton of people ask about that. If people want to do it, I can run it. Like, I don't care. I'm sitting home tonight. I might send out something if people are actually interested in that. I had about probably 8 to 10 people ask about it. So maybe we'll it's just a luck one, no skill to it, but just a little sweat to add some fun. If anyone wants to, slide into my DMs, because I might do that.
All right, there we go. That's going to do it for this first playoff episode of the Print Factory. We'll be back next week, and we will have NFL shows on this YouTube channel for the 2-gamer tomorrow, talking DFS with the crew. I think it's at 11 a.m. Eastern time, and then we'll have our normal Wood show. Me, Big T, and Wiley will be at 10 a.m. Eastern time on Sunday. And then we'll obviously have showdown shows for Monday. So we'll still have shows throughout the weekend for you guys for these football slates, obviously focusing more on the DFS angle and those type of plays. So if that's more what you're into, don't worry. We'll have you covered on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So for ODB, Big T, and myself, JSU, hope you guys enjoyed the first round of the playoff show. We'll be back next week. Until then, good luck in your NFL bets. We're out of here.